The wilderness holds secrets, some beautiful, some terrifying, and some utterly life-changing. For Alex, a seasoned solo hiker, a routine trek into the secluded Blackwood Valley was about to become anything but ordinary. He sought solitude, the quiet comfort of nature, but what he found was a cry that would echo in his soul forever. As dusk painted the sky in shades of purple and orange, a strange guttural wail pierced the evening calm. It wasn't a bear, nor a wolf. It was a sound of pure, unadulterated distress, a sound that pulled at the very core of his humanity, driven by a mix of fear and an undeniable sense of duty. Alex pushed deeper into the fog-shrouded valley, his heart pounding against his ribs. The cries grew louder, more desperate, leading him toward a small, hidden grove, and there, nestled amongst the roots of an ancient redwood, was the source of the sound. It was a creature straight out of folklore, something he'd only read about in whispered legends and seen in grainy, disputed photographs. Small, covered in thick, dark fur, with eyes that held an ancient, intelligent sadness. It was an infant Bigfoot, alone and terrified. There was no sign of its parents, just the vast, indifferent wilderness and this tiny, helpless being. In that moment, every survival instinct Alex had ever honed was rewritten. This wasn't about him anymore. The logic of a hiker gave way to the instinct of a protector. He couldn't just leave it there. To abandon this creature would be to abandon a piece of his own soul. So, under the watchful eyes of the silent trees, Alex made a choice that would sever his ties to his old life and bind him to one of the world's greatest mysteries. He gently scooped up the trembling infant, wrapped it in his jacket, and became its unlikely guardian. The first few days were a blur of confusion and raw instinct. What does a Bigfoot baby eat? How do you comfort a creature that shouldn't exist? Alex named him Kai, a name that felt both wild and gentle. He foraged for berries, soft roots, and fresh spring water, discovering that Kai had an incredible appetite and an even more incredible intelligence. The infant learned to trust him, its large, dark eyes following Alex's every move. Its small, surprisingly dexterous hands would cling to his shirt as he carried it, a silent promise of their shared journey. They moved constantly, staying deep within the valley's embrace, far from any trails or signs of civilization. Alex knew the world was not ready for Kai. He imagined the headlines, the scientists, the cages. The thought sent a chill down his spine that had nothing to do with the mountain air. This beautiful, innocent creature would become a specimen, a spectacle. He wouldn't allow it. His mission was no longer just survival, it was sanctuary. As weeks turned into months, an extraordinary bond formed between man and myth. Alex learned Kai's language, a series of soft grunts, clicks, and expressive gestures. Kai, in turn, seemed to understand Alex's soft-spoken words, his moods, and his fears. They were a family of two, a secret held by the mountains. Kai grew quickly, his strength and agility astonishing. He could climb trees with a speed that defied gravity and navigate the dense forest with an innate grace that left Alex in awe. One evening, as they sat by a small, smokeless fire, Kai let out a low, rumbling call, different from any sound Alex had heard before. It was deep, resonant, and filled with a profound longing. The call was answered from across the valley, a sound so powerful it seemed to shake the very ground beneath them. It was a moment of terrifying beauty. They weren't alone. Kai's family was out there, searching. Alex felt a pang of both relief and incredible sadness. He knew this day would come. He was just a steward, a temporary guardian. Kai belonged with his own kind, but how could he let go? This creature had become the center of his universe. Looking into Kai's trusting eyes, Alex understood. Love, true love, means wanting what's best for the one you care for, even if it breaks your own heart. His purpose was not to keep Kai, but to reunite him. The journey to find Kai's family became their new quest. Guided by the nightly calls, they traveled toward the highest, most inaccessible peaks of the range. The trek was perilous, testing Alex's limits as a human in a world not meant for him. But with Kai by his side, showing him hidden paths and sources of food, they moved as one. Kai was no longer just a passenger, he was a partner, a guide in his own ancestral home. Finally, on a windswept ridge overlooking a primordial, untouched basin, they saw them. 3 towering figures moving with a silent, majestic power. A family. As Kai let out another call, the largest of the figures turned, its massive head silhouetted against the moon. There was a moment of stillness, an eternity packed into a single heartbeat. Then the giant figure responded with a soft, welcoming call. It was time. With tears streaming down his face, Alex knelt and hugged Kai one last time, whispering his goodbyes. The small creature looked back at him, a deep and knowing intelligence in his gaze. It wasn't just gratitude, it was understanding. It was love. Kai then turned and bounded down the ridge toward his family, who enveloped him in a massive, gentle embrace before melting back into the shadows of the forest, gone as if they were never there. Alex stood on that ridge until the sun came up, alone once more, but forever changed. He had touched a myth, raised a legend, and kept a promise to the wilderness. He returned to a world that knew nothing of his journey, a world that would never believe his story. But he carried the secret in his heart, a profound connection to the wild, and the knowledge that true wonders exist just beyond the veil of our understanding. His life was no longer about solitude, but about the memory of a unique, impossible friendship that echoed through the valleys of his soul. Thank you so much for joining us on this incredible journey today. If this story moved you, please hit that like button and consider subscribing for more tales that explore the mysteries of our world. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, keep exploring.